Well, good morning. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. It's a beautiful day here in Pennsylvania. Sun is shining and it's a nice low humidity day. Well, today is harvest day for my red Russian kale. So thanks for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. So anyhow, I always like using my wife's Longaberger basket when I harvest my red beets or carrots or leafy greens. And you know, leafy greens are one of our favorites here in our household. I grow a lot of your Ford Hook giant Swiss chard. In fact, that's right alongside me, and then your bright light Swiss chard. I also have some dinosaur kale out in the garden. But the red Russian kale, you know, it's a unique type of leafy green. It kind of reminds me of an oak leaf, you know, and so it's nice growing these different varieties of leafy greens out in your garden. And of course, they're full of phytonutrients. You know, they're very healthy for our bodies, and there's a lot of different ways you can prepare them. Some people use them in their smoothies. You know, I like to steam a lot of my greens, and then of course you could put them in your salad. And so anyhow, follow me along and let's go harvest some of these red Russian kale plants. And so I have some of these red Russian kale plants around the corner and down the hill a little bit. I'm actually growing them in some garden containers. And you know, that's a really easy way to garden, is you can grow your plants in containers. And here I have some squash here growing, and I have some peppers in the container here. I have a tomato plant, and then I also have my red Russian kale here that I'm going to be harvesting today. And you know, if you're short on backyard space, you know, if you have a patio or a deck, container gardening is a great way to begin gardening. You know, I always tell people you start small and build off of your successes, and container gardening is very easy to do. In fact, you can grow most of your vegetables in containers that you would normally grow in your garden. You just want to make sure you would have maybe 4 to 6 to 8 hours of sun, depending on which vegetables you grow. For instance, leafy greens, they can get away with minimum of like 4 hours of sunlight, where your tomatoes and your peppers here, these tomatoes here and these peppers here, they like 6 to 8 hours of sun. In fact, the more the better. And so anyhow, let's start harvesting these beautiful leafy greens here, these red Russian kale leaves. I see Bailey's joining us this morning out here in the garden. And so these red Russian kale plants, you know, they're called pick and come again. And so, you know, what you do is you just pick the outer leaves of the plant, and you leave the center shoot that's growing. You leave that there. You certainly don't want to prune that. And so these leafy greens will continue to grow throughout your season, you know. And so, you know, if you have a small family, you could grow like a dozen type of greens, and you could supply your family for under $2 for the whole season for greens. You know, if you go to the supermarket and buy a bundle of greens, you're going to pay $3 or more just for a bunch of greens, you know. And so you can grow your own greens for that same price or under that for the whole season. And so you just want to continue to pick the outer leaves, and you also want to try to pick some of the larger leaves too. And so you can see how beautiful looking these red Russian kale leaves are. They kind of, again, remind me of an oak leaf. And these are nice and winter hardy too, and so you could grow these a lot right through the winter. You could cover them in a low tunnel hoop house to protect them a little bit more. And so yeah, they're just beautiful leaves here. They've grown really well here in the container. You can either direct sow these in your garden or you can buy transplants. I happen to buy just a 4-pack of these red Russian kale plants. They were maybe like $3. A lot of times I don't have time on my schedule to be starting all these seeds indoors, and so sometimes I'll buy some market packs like at Ray's Nursery, or of course I do a lot of direct sowing of my seeds also out in the garden. And so you just want to go through the plant, and you know, there's also some dead leaves you'll see along the bottom. It's always good to pick those off, and because you want these plants to have good air circulation around them, so it's always good to harvest these as much as you can. And so far it seems like the looper worm hasn't really bothered these too much. These leaves haven't really been eaten. I normally grow my broccoli and my cauliflower and cabbage under my row covers so that the cabbage looper worm doesn't affect them, doesn't destroy the plants. But anyhow, I'll probably steam these tonight for dinner. Put them in a pot of water and let them steam probably for 10 minutes or so, and make a nice healthy meal, especially since my wife and I, you know, we're plant-based here at our family, and you know, we've moved away from the standard American diet and get our fuel source from plants and not animals anymore. And of course I've experienced amazing results in my health. You know, my blood pressure is plummeted, and my cholesterol, in fact my cholesterol is like a total of 139 now, and my blood pressure is like 110/70, and I've also lost a lot of weight at like 65 pounds. And so, you know, the focus is on restoring our health. Weight loss is a bonus, and so it's amazing when we get away from the foods that injure our bodies will heal themselves. You know, the meats, the dairies, the cheeses, the oils, those are the foods that really injure our bodies. They clog our arteries and so on. And so since we've adopted this type of lifestyle, again, we've just experienced amazing results. All my joint pain went away, my angina went away, and so on. The benefits have just been amazing. And so leafy greens are, you know, something we really enjoy out in the garden. And since we've adopted this type of lifestyle, my garden has taken on a whole new meaning, because it's our fuel source for healthy living. And you know, I grow potatoes down below there, some red Norland variety and some Adirondack potatoes, and you know, they're just it's wonderful to be able to grow your own food here out in the garden. And so I think we pretty much have a nice basket here of leafy greens here. And so, like I said earlier, we're going to look forward to steaming those out in our garden. And so let me encourage you to think about growing your own food at your house. If you don't have a backyard, you can start in containers, or even if you did have some small backyard space, you could start in a 4-foot by 8-foot raised garden bed. You could plant a couple tomato plants there, a couple pepper plants, maybe a basil plant, some leafy greens, and you'd be amazed at how much one little garden space like that would produce for the season. And so anyhow, let me encourage you to think about doing that. So anyhow, if you have any questions or comments about this video, feel free to leave them in the section below. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so you could receive future videos. And you could also visit us at plantsmartliving.com. So anyhow, I hope you have a wonderful day today. Thanks for joining me today out here in the garden. And so until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.